Hey everyone, and welcome to Thelearningdroid. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Weller Wood Burning and Hobbyist kit. This is the kit I bought a while ago. I think it's been about 6 months. So I've had some experience using it now and I'm reasonably confident enough to do a review. All of my pyrography project videos use this kit, so if you want to have a look at how it burns or have a look at me doing some burns with it, pop over to the project video list. I've been thinking about doing a review for a while. You saw me do the unboxing, or if you haven't seen me doing the unboxing, there's a video where I unbox it, have a little chat. So we're going to do a review, we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of this kit that I found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the camera a little bit closer and I'm going to focus it down on the actual bits and pieces so that you can have a look at what you get in the kit and what I think you need as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. So now we've got a closer view. This is what you get in the kit, as well as a storage box. The storage box is nice and sturdy. Unfortunately, the insert they put it in is rather flimsy. So the only bit of the insert I kept is this bit for storing your pieces or your tips. The rest of it I threw away. I kept the box, using it for storing something else. So let's have a little talk about the machine. This is the Weller Wood Burning and Hobbyist kit. It's a single temperature, solid bit pyrography machine. So what do you get in the kit? Well, you get the machine, which has no base unit, it's just a pen and cable, a stand, a selection of solid point bits, instruction manual, and a set of a few design projects to give you an idea of stuff that you can do with your pyrography machine. Because it's a solid point machine, it's not heated by directly running current through a wire tip, which has some advantages, some disadvantages. The tip itself is slower to heat up because once you plug the machine up, it actually has to heat up a coil in here, heat up the machine, then the heat is transferred to the tip. So it's a little bit slower to heat up. But there's no exposed electrical current because there's no electrical current running through the actual tip. It also takes away some of the extra skills you need with a wire machine when you're shaping and creating your own bits. There are pre-shaped bits you can buy for wire machines, but you do have to do a little bit of maintenance, and to get the most out of a wire machine you really should learn to shape your own wire tips. So the solid point machine, you can't shape the tips, you just come with a selection of solid points. You can switch between the bits, even though it takes a while to warm up and cool down. You can switch between the bits while the machine is on. The only disadvantage with this is these things get very hot, as does the machine, so you need something to help you switch between the different pieces. Means you can arrange for a selection of different bits. You can use different bits for different elements of your project without having to turn the machine on and off, so that you don't have to cool it and heat it every single time. With a wire machine you have to unplug it before changing bits, but you don't have to unplug this machine because it's not directly heating, there's no electrical current passing through the tip. So you can just use a pair of pliers, unwrap it and put it aside. On the negative side, because it stores the heat in here, it's a conduction heating machine, this gets very hot and it stays hot when you turn it off, as do the bits. When you take them out of the machine they stay hot for a good 10 minutes. The bits maybe not, the machine definitely stays hot for at least 10 minutes afterwards. The bits probably cool down in a couple of minutes. This gives you a bit of a safety issue because you've got a hot machine, you've got hot bits about. So that's the solid bit element of it. We'll talk about the individual bits now. It comes with a nice wide selection of bits. One of the better selections you can get with machines, you can buy big packs of bits, but it comes with a patterning bit for transferring patterns, including these ones which are all laser printed. It comes with a couple of calligraphy bits, a couple of carving bits, a few stamp bits that I haven't used. It comes with a spear point shader and a hop cutter. It also comes with a fine point carving bit, which unfortunately snapped. It's very fine, and I think it snapped more by my fault than a fault of the machine. I've had no trouble with any of the other bits. It's just I may have been a little bit rough with the pliers, and I think I snapped that myself. But it's one thing to bear in mind that some of these little bits are quite delicate when you're taking them in that machine when they're hot. From a pyrography point of view, it comes with a decent number of bits to do some general pyrography. From a hobbyist point of view, The patterning bit's brilliant for a hobbyist because you can place patterns onto whatever you're working with, whether it's leather, wood. And the hot cutting knife, brilliant from a hobbyist's point of view because you can do some beautiful hot cutting with it. Bearing in mind, of course, that it's a chuck bit, it will take any scalpel blade or any craft blade that you place into it. It's a simple chuck bit that heats up. The stand is rather flimsy, but then most of these things are. They very rarely support the weight of the machine properly, so you bind it down. Now, it's a single temperature machine, which is a mix. The temperature is always consistent, which is brilliant. So the temperature you get out of your bits only depends upon the shape and size of the bit. This means you don't have to worry about learning what settings to put different bits on. One setting and no base unit to adjust the temperature on. So it's quite small, which means it's very good for a hobbyist and very good for a beginner because you don't need a lot of space. It's not something that you have to invest a big storage box in, anything like that. The base units can be quite large, so having just the single temperature bit, which is just a pen, no base unit, is quite useful. However, the disadvantage is it's a single temperature. If you want to do anything artistic or if you want to do anything that requires a very low temperature or a very high temperature, you're kind of out of luck. You can't do very delicate shading unless you spend a lot of time learning the skill. And that's the thing, picking up this, you can do basic pyrography with it very easily. But doing anything more detailed takes more skill than it would if you had an adjustable temperature machine. Because an adjustable temperature machine lets you play with the temperature to get the temperature right for what you want to do. Whereas this requires you to play with your movement speed, how long you're touching the material with, what kind of bit you're using, and whether or not you do a pre-burn on a bit of scrap wood where you just burn off some of the heat to get the heat right. You can control how long you leave a bit in when it's warming up as well. It adds a level of skill to getting the sort of burn you want, but for a basic burn, this temperature is fine on pretty much anything. On everything I've tried it on, this temperature has been fine. Now the actual pen itself, because it's a solid point single temperature, well, because it's a solid point pen, this bit gets quite hot. So it's got a temperature shield which is used to dissipate some of the heat. But even so, over time this gets quite warm. The heat bleeds up and warms up the pen. It's a crafter's pen rather than an artist's pen, so it's a bit bigger. An artist's pen will be quite narrow, which means that it's more comfortable to hold when you're looking at doing fine detail. But the crafter's pen is fine for short periods or for general detail. For doing fine detail you can use the crafter's pen, but it gets a bit uncomfortable. And because it's quite large, you can use it for applying quite a bit of pressure if you're doing hot cutting and things, so that's quite useful. I've used it for about 45 minutes to at most 2 hours at a time. When I did it for 2 hours, this thing was getting exceedingly hot and it was starting to hurt my hands. So one of the biggest things to recommend this machine really is the cost. In the UK you're looking between £20 and £25, and numbers wise you're looking the same in the US, but you're looking in dollars, so you're looking $20 to $25. It's not uncommon with pyrography machines. In America they tend to sell them far cheaper. So the Weller Hobby Burning and Hobbyist kit comes in a nice box with weak and flimsy inserts. It comes with a nice selection of bits that you can use for hobby and pyrography. I use them mainly for pyrography, but you can use them for hobby as well. It comes with a selection of pyrography bits. It comes with a patterning bit, shading bit, a couple of calligraphy bits, a couple of carving bits, and with a hot cutting knife. All in all, good machine. I'm not going to give it a score out of 5 or 10. I'm just going to give you a wrap up. On the positive side, it's a decent price, it's got a decent selection of bits, it doesn't have a base unit, which means it's quite small, it's quite easy to use, and it's a good beginner's introduction. On the negative side, it's limited by the single temperature. You can't do a lot of really fine stuff. The machine and the grip get quite hot. Disadvantage with this bit getting hot is if this touches the wood, you're going to scorch it or blacken it. You're limited to how much detail you can do when it comes to shading and how fine and accurate you can be. And once it's hot, it will stay hot for a while. So the bottom line is, it's good for crafters and for small-time burners or people getting into pyrography. It's good for people looking to add a bit of darkening or scarring to carving projects or projects where they've been they want to put a little bit of blackening onto something before they paint it. It's good for the low price, suitable for people looking to try out pyrography as a hobby or try out pyrography just at the beginning of if they want to get into it or not. There are far better artistic machines out there. They're more expensive, but it's not really suitable for people looking to be really artistic. So if you're sure that you want to go into pyrography artistry, you might want to go for a slightly more expensive machine with an adjustable temperature or even a wire tip machine. The large handle means that people with really small hands are going to struggle with it, and because the handle, this and the tips stay hot afterwards, though if you've got children or pets you want to keep them out of the room when you're using it and for at least 15 minutes afterwards, because you don't want them touching this, because this will take your skin off if you put your fingers on it. It gets hot enough easily to take your skin off. Other than that, that's quite fine. If you do want to get it, a couple of ancillary things. Glass dish or ceramic dish. Doesn't come with the kit, but it's really, really useful because your hot bits, once you've pulled them out with a plier, just drop them straight into the glass dish. You don't have to worry about them then, because it's especially a high-sided glass dish, because the likelihood of someone actually getting their fingers in or an animal getting into it is very low. On that mode, a couple of pairs of pliers so that you can use the tips, so you can switch between the tips. Ceramic tile or something like that is really good for this because you can tape this to it and then you can just sit your machine on. The ceramic tile adds weight, and then a surface to burn on. Some old scrap wood really is best, something that you can burn without giving off nasty fumes. Other than that, the kit comes with everything you need. You can buy extra bits for it. It's a pretty standard screw-in thread solid bit machine, so you can buy extra bits for it. But then with this kind of selection, unless you're looking to go into really detailed stuff, you don't really need any more bits. It comes with everything you need. I like the machine myself, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'll see you next time.